The indicators that we found that there was a body was, of course, the odor, a decomposition.
The body of Al Adamson was discovered wrapped in a white sheet, under cinder blocks and inches of dirt. The official cause of death? Blunt force trauma to the head.
What's up, Vault Dwellers? Dan here. And look, we talk a lot in this channel about low-budget movies, corner-cutting productions, and how directors make magic happen, but with nothing but ambition and duct tape. And usually, it's kind of inspiring. But sometimes, that get the shot at any cost mentality, it had a body count. I'm not talking about fictional deaths on the screen. I'm talking about real people who went to work on a movie set and didn't come home, or spent years dying slowly because somebody in charge decided safety, that was just another line item to cut. Today, we're going to talk about 5 of the darkest, most disturbing stories in B-movie history. Some you've probably heard, some are going to haunt you, and we're counting them down from bad to the unthinkable. All right, let's get to it.
This story reads like the plot of a bad horror movie, except this is real, and the victim, believe it or not, was a horror film director.
This one isn't about on-set negligence. It's the most B-movie ending any B-movie director could have written for himself, like ever. Al Adamson made his name grinding out low-budget horror and exploitation flicks throughout the 60s and 70s. Movies like Dracula vs. Frankenstein, Psycho a Go-Go, Satan Sadists, titles that sound like they were generated by shaking a bag of magnetic poetry for horror fans. This guy, he was prolific. Not always good, but certainly prolific. In 1995, Adamson disappeared.
His business associate and his family always heard from him at least 2 or 3 times a week.
We're looking all over the country. Maybe he was kidnapped.
His friends reported him missing. The police, they started looking, and after 5 weeks, well, they found him because he was buried under the tiles of his own bathroom floor. Apparently, his live-in contractor murdered him, then literally tiled over the body to steal his money and property. The director of blood and ghastly horror actually ended up as a real-life crime scene more gruesome than anything he'd ever filmed. It's the kind of ending that would feel too on the nose in a screenplay. For Adamson, it was just how the story ended.
Fred Fulford was found guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced 25 years to life. The verdict closed a painful ordeal for friends and family of Al Adamson.
И небо скрылось, свившись как свиток, и всякая гора, и остров двинулись с мест.
Okay, now we're getting into territory where the actual production became lethal. Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker, it's a masterpiece. This movie is hypnotic, like a meditative journey into a mysterious zone. The whole thing drips with atmosphere. Crumbling industrial decay, fog, rust, and this thick sense of environmental dread. But here's the problem. The atmosphere, it was real. I mean, like, too real. Tarkovsky shot near a hydroelectric station on a river in Estonia. What he didn't know, and what nobody told his crew, was that a chemical plant upstream was dumping toxic waste directly into the water. The sound designer later remembered watching white foam floating down the river and thinking, wow, that looks beautiful. It sure adds to the film's bleak aesthetic. Well, the foam was poison. Within a decade of production, Tarkovsky was dead from bronchial cancer, and so was his wife and assistant director Larissa, and so was the lead actor. The film's haunting visuals came with a price nobody agreed to pay. Tarkovsky wanted to capture decay and contamination. Well, he succeeded in ways he never intended.
The worst thing you could ever see would be 3 people, and particularly 2 children, killed right on the film. When you first see it, it's just overwhelming.
The gruesome deaths were recorded on numerous cameras and shown repeatedly at the trial.
This one crossed the line from indie negligence into big-budget catastrophe, and it changed Hollywood forever. In 1982, John Landis is directing the opening segment of Twilight Zone, the movie. And he's got Vic Morrow playing a racist who gets transported back to a Vietnam village, you know, karmic punishment, Twilight Zone style. And to sell the chaos, Landis wants a helicopter hovering low with explosions going off everywhere, you know, the works. He also illegally hired 2 child actors to work past midnight around live pyrotechnics. And during the shoot, a special effects explosion goes off too close to the helicopter, damaging the tail rotor. The aircraft spins out of control and crashes directly into the actors. Vic Morrow and both children, they were killed. Morrow and one of the kids were actually decapitated by the rotary blades. I'm not going to describe this any further than that. You can find the details if you want them, but what matters is this. But get the shot mentality that defines so much of low-budget filmmaking, it made its way onto a major studio production, and 3 people died for a scene that was cut from the final film. The lawsuits and investigations afterwards rewrote child labor laws and safety protocols across the industry. It's the reason helicopters aren't allowed that close to actors anymore, and it's the reason there are actual rules now. 3 people died to create those rules.
And as you watch it over and over again, you become desensitized to it, for good and for ill, I think. I mean, you tend to forget that they're really human beings there, so that's bad.
Hey, look, I need you to understand something before we get into this. The tagline for Roar's 2015 re-release was, "No animals were harmed in the making of this movie. 70 members of the cast and crew were." And that's not marketing hyperbole. That's an undercount. Roar was the passion project of Noel Marshall and his wife, Tippi Hedren. Yeah, you know, the birds Tippi. They wanted to make a movie about wildlife conservation, showing a family living peacefully with big cats. Noble goal, right? Well, their method was to film at a ranch with over 100 untrained lions, tigers, leopards, jaguars, and cougars who roam freely among the actors for like 11 years. The injury list reads like a war casualty report. Cinematographer Jim Desbont got scalped by a lion. They had to reattach his scalp with 120 stitches. Melanie Griffith, which is Tippi's daughter, by the way, was a teenager at the time, and she had her face mauled. She needed 50 stitches and reconstructive surgery. Tippi even broke her leg when an elephant threw her. She also needed 38 stitches after a cat bit her neck. Noel Marshall was actually hospitalized multiple times. He even developed gangrene from an infected bite wound. Oh, and an assistant director, he had his throat bitten, nearly died. And through all of this, the production continued. Marshall spent $17 million of his own money, and the film made like $2 million at the box office. The family ended up physically scarred and financially destroyed, all just to make a film about how gentle these animals could be. I mean, you can't write this stuff. I mean, I've watched Roar. It's fascinating in the most horrifying way possible. You're watching real maulings happen on screen because they keep filming through the attacks. Every time an actor flinches or looks terrified, they're not acting.
Get off of her! Get off, heavy!
Yield 15 kilotons. Unlike the situation with an implosion weapon, the scientists were here able to observe fireball growth from a body of fissionable material whose exact shape and dimensions at the moment of detonation were known.
And finally, what might be the worst production disaster in B-movie history, maybe in any movie history. The Conqueror is famous for being one of the most miscast films ever made. John Wayne plays Genghis Khan, complete with a Fu Manchu mustache and dialogue like, "All airfielders Tartar woman is for me." I mean, this thing is ridiculous. It should just be a footnote about Hollywood's weird 1950s casting decisions. Instead, it's a mass grave. You see, in 1954, Howard Hughes financed a production and shot this near the town of St. George. You know, it's just a beautiful location. It's got rolling dunes, dramatic landscape, but it's also 137 miles downwind from the Nevada National Security Site, where the U.S. military, they detonated 11 nuclear weapons the year before as part of their Operation Upshot. The cast and crew spent weeks filming in radioactive dust. Horses were kicking it up, wind machines were blasting it everywhere, and explosions sent clouds of it in the air. Everyone was breathing it, like, constantly. Hughes, who was obsessed with visual continuity, he even had 60 tons of that irradiated dirt shipped back to the soundstage in Hollywood for interior scenes. So the cast kept inhaling fallout for months. Out of 220 cast and crew members, 91 developed cancer and 46 died from it. Director Dick Powell, John Wayne, Susan Hayward, Agnes Moorehead, all dead from cancer. Dr. Robert Pendleton, who studied the cluster, he said the cancer rate qualified as an epidemic, far beyond what you'd expect statistically, even accounting for the fact that half of Hollywood smoked like chimneys back then. The US government assured locals the fallout was safe. Hughes was so disturbed by the eventual death toll that he bought every existing print of the film and kept it out of circulation until after his death. The Conqueror didn't just kill careers. It killed people, slowly, over decades. A B-grade historic epic became a real-life tragedy because nobody thought to ask whether the pretty desert had been poisoned.
Atomic test.
3, 2, 1.
These stories, I mean, they're not fun. They're not the goofy, behind-the-scenes trivia I usually love digging up, but they do matter because they're part of why modern film sets have safety coordinators, union rules, and actual consequences for negligence. The history of B-movies is full of incredible creativity, just born from limited resources. But it's also full of warnings about what happens when getting the shot becomes more important than the people in front of and behind the camera. Thanks for everyone for sticking with me on this one. I know it was heavy. And keep it weird, folks.